Hi. So, originally I wouldn't be putting this video up, but something happened that made me want to dive a little bit more in it, made me want to talk about it a little bit more. So, last night on Monday Night Raw, which I didn't watch or so, but I saw some highlights and I saw some clips of it. Last night on Monday Night Raw, Rhea Ripley made her debut and challenged Asuka for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania. Now, that by itself, just in a bubble, is a great move. I mean, it's not going to be too good for Asuka in the end, because I don't think she's ever won a match at WrestleMania. This woman was undefeated for about a year or two in NXT, in her time in NXT. And when they got the main roster, they completely misused her, they completely bought that run, they got Sayed, which, fair enough. I mean, Sayed's a good wrestler. I mean, I think we all can pretty much agree that Sayed didn't need to win at that WrestleMania. But fair enough, Sayed's a good wrestler. Then she got to Carmella about 2 or 3 times. She got to Becky Lynch, again fair enough. They had a fantastic match. They had fantastic matches at back-to-back Royal Rumble. Then she tapped out to Natalya, which just no, just no. And she hasn't, for whatever reason, well, I know the reason, but she hasn't had a match at WrestleMania. And somebody can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. She hasn't had a match at WrestleMania since WrestleMania 34 where Streak was ended. And she pretty much went downhill. Now this is gonna be a good match. This will be a great match. I mean, Rhea Ripley versus Asuka will be good. I mean, I talked a little bit ago about Sayed versus Asuka and how Sayed really didn't need to win that match at WrestleMania. I think we're all in agreement to that. The funny thing is, if Asuka had won at WrestleMania, I think I was thinking at the time that I'd be okay if the at SummerSlam or even Extreme Rules Society, I think they could have had a good rivalry going. But they didn't. And the match at WrestleMania 34 was a good match between Asuka and Sayed. It was a good match. I rewatched it yesterday just to see if my opinion had changed. And it has a little bit. It was a better match than I remember it being. I mean, I don't think it's as good a match as a lot of people think it does. I actually think Asuka and Sayed's match from SmackDown for the SmackDown Women's title was better, and I also think Sayed versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 36 was better. But this kind of went downhill for Asuka, and it's the same. I mean, I've seen it said that they could have done more other than just Rhea Ripley announcing that that she challenges Asuka for WrestleMania, and that's true. That's true. Maybe they could have done Rhea Ripley vs. Sayed for the #1 contendership for the Raw Women's title. Because come on, it's Sayed. Why wouldn't she be in the title picture at this point? But it would have been good. It would have had Rhea get some good momentum off that. If Sayed's not going to be at WrestleMania, and here I get to the point of the video. Sayed was originally supposed to be at WrestleMania. It was originally supposed to be Sayed vs. Asuka for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania, which I think would have just been a bad idea because it was a foregone conclusion that Sayed would win. But, and like I say, Sayed's a good worker. I think she's been put beyond her means sometimes, but Sayed's a good wrestler. She's a good wrestler. I mean, yak father, yak daughter. Or yak daughter, yak father. She's the daughter of the international Ric Flair. Why wouldn't wrestling be in her blood? I mean, she stole most of her moves from her dad, in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. She's a good wrestler in her own right. So, like I say, Sayed was originally supposed to be at WrestleMania. It was supposed to be Asuka vs. Sayed at WrestleMania 37, which I've admitted I think would have been a bad idea. What happened? Well, I've read another thing since then. But what I read a couple days ago, Andrade was released from his WB contract, which is great. I think Andrade deserves so much better. He had a 5-star match with Johnny Gargano at an NXT Takeover, which is, I mean, subjective scoring, whatever you want to say about that. But objectively, he had a real great match with Johnny Gargano at NXT Takeover. And then later he had a real great match. He had a real great match with Out Black and Drew McIntyre Takeover. I mean, I don't think they were as good as the Johnny Gargano one, but part of that had to be with Johnny Gargano being an amazing wrestler. So, Andrade was released from his contract. Andrade is the boyfriend of Sayed Flair. I suspected something like this, but what I read a couple days ago was that apparently WB wouldn't get Andrade out of its contract, which sounds par for the course. It sounds like nothing new. Except Sayed stepped in for Andrade. She said, she basically threatened to walk if they didn't get Andrade out of his contract, because they knew Andrade wasn't happy. And what they basically said was, well, okay, we get Andrade out of his contract, but you're going to be missing WrestleMania. Thinking she chose WrestleMania of her boyfriend. She didn't. So Sayed's out of WrestleMania. Well, from what we know anyway. See, we all know what happened at WrestleMania 35. She maybe just inserted into the match between Rhea Ripley and Asuka for no apparent reason. But as far as we know, for right now, that's not going to happen. Now, I said what I said about Asuka about Sayed being put beyond her means. I mean, I've heard grumbling that she's been bratty backstage, difficult to work with, she's been entitled, which, again, this is all rumor at the end of the day, because I don't know Sayed personally. I don't know what happened personally. I wasn't there. But can only be speculation. But I will say, if this is true, I gained a lot of respect for science. I mean, like I say, I've never thought he was a bad wrestler. I've never thought he was a bad worker. I love most of her matches. I rewatched Oscar vs. Science yesterday night. It was good. I had a sense of foreboding throughout the whole thing. But it was a good match. I watched her versus Rhea Ripley again. I watched her versus Ronda Rousey. Even the triple threat with Becky Lynch and Ronda at WrestleMania, which I think should have been a triple threat, but I think it was a good match for what it was. But like I say, if this is true, then I have a lot more respect for Science Fair than I did. I mean, I've heard. On to the other report, I've seen it reported that Science Fair tested positive for COVID, and that may be part of the reason that he's out of WrestleMania anyway. But I don't know. At the end of the day, all this is rumor. Take it with a pinch of salt. Just what I've read from the newsletter and Wrestle Talk, everything like that. Reputable wrestling sources. I've read the site really stuck up for Andrade like that. And she has a lot of respect in my book. And I met a lot of fans' books for what she did. I mean, if it is true, which I don't, honestly, I kind of don't doubt, knowing the situation that Andrade and Seidel are both in together, and the fact that WB kind of used WrestleMania as an incentive for Science to kind of back off, but she said in the walkout because she knew that she's one of WB's main women's stars right now, and WB didn't want to use it as a competition. So, like I say, I have a lot more respect for Science than I did if any of this speculation and rumor are true. Guys, thank you for listening to my rant, mini review on Science Fair or work ethic. Just thanks for listening to my rant, and I'll see you when I see you.